What if everything you know, the ground beneath your feet, the sky above, even the thoughts in your mind, are all part of a computer program? What if the reality you experience is not real at all, but a sophisticated simulation created by a far more advanced civilization? This idea may sound like science fiction, but it's a theory that has gained traction in the scientific community over the past few decades. It's called the simulation hypothesis, and it asks one simple question: are we living in a simulation? The concept was popularized by philosopher Nick Bostrom in 2003, but it dates back much further, with roots in ancient philosophy. The idea is that at some point in the future, an advanced civilization would have enough computing power to create incredibly realistic simulations of their ancestors. If these simulations are indistinguishable from reality, then how can we know whether we're living in one? But let's start with the basics. What exactly is a simulation? A simulation is a model or imitation of a system or process. It's something designed to replicate reality, but it's not the real thing. Think about video games, virtual reality, or even movies. They all create environments that look real, but we know they aren't. Now imagine a simulation so advanced that the beings within it, us, don't realize they're part of it. The question is, how do we tell the difference between real life and a simulation? To explore this, we need to consider the implications of technological advancements. We've already created fairly convincing simulations ourselves. Video games have become incredibly lifelike, and virtual reality is now immersive enough to trick our senses into thinking we're somewhere else entirely. It's not hard to imagine a future where technology advances to the point where a simulation is indistinguishable from actual reality. So how would this work on a larger scale? Bostrom's hypothesis suggests that at least one of these three possibilities must be true. Humanity will go extinct before reaching the technological level required to create such simulations. An advanced civilization will have no interest in creating these simulations. We are almost certainly living in a simulation. Out of these three options, Bostrom argues that the third one is the most likely. Because as technology progresses, the likelihood of us being the real beings in an advanced simulation becomes smaller. Let's break it down. If future civilizations can create realistic simulations, they'll likely create many of them. And if they create many simulations, the number of simulated realities could far outnumber the one real reality. Statistically, this means it would be far more probable for us to be in a simulation than to be in the original physical reality. The idea is mind-bending. If we're living in a simulation, the true nature of reality is beyond our comprehension. We're simply characters within a program, experiencing what we think is real, but it's all just code. But what's the evidence? Is there any way to prove or disprove this theory? In 2012, a physicist named Silas Bean suggested that we might be able to find evidence of a simulation by looking at the limits of space and time. The idea is that if we're in a simulation, the physical universe should have certain constraints, just like a video game or a computer program. For example, the idea that the universe has a pixelated structure, like a grid of space and time, which would appear as tiny discrete units if we zoom in far enough. If we can find these pixels, it could be the smoking gun that proves we're living in a simulation. Other proponents of the simulation theory suggest that anomalies in the laws of physics, such as the fine-tuning of constants that make life possible, might be evidence that we're living in a program designed by someone or something else. There's another intriguing aspect to the simulation hypothesis, the idea of glitches. Have you ever experienced something that doesn't quite make sense? A weird coincidence, or something that seems out of place like déjà vu? Some theorists suggest that these glitches in our perception of reality could be a result of errors in the simulation, moments when the program fails to run smoothly. The idea of glitches might sound far-fetched, but consider the world of video games. They have bugs and glitches that players can notice, like characters floating in midair or textures popping in and out. What if something similar is happening in our own reality? Small cracks in the simulation that we notice but can't fully explain. But not everyone agrees with the simulation hypothesis. Many scientists argue that there's no concrete evidence to support the idea that we're living in a simulation, and it remains purely speculative. There's also the question of why a civilization would create a simulation in the first place. What purpose would it serve? Is it some kind of experiment, or are we just a byproduct of advanced technology? It's a question that raises more questions than answers. And there's another possibility to consider: the nature of consciousness. If we are living in a simulation, Does that mean our consciousness is also simulated? Are we truly aware of ourselves, or is that awareness just an illusion created by the program? These philosophical questions add an even deeper layer of complexity to the theory. If we're in a simulation, what does it say about the nature of reality, existence, and free will? In the end, the idea of living in a simulation is an incredibly thought-provoking one. It forces us to confront some of our deepest questions about the universe, existence, and the nature of reality. As technology continues to advance and we unlock the secrets of the cosmos, the simulation hypothesis might not remain just a philosophical question. It could become a matter of scientific exploration. Are we in a simulation? The truth is, we don't know. But the mere possibility of it challenges everything we think we know about the universe. One thing's for sure, whether we're in a simulation or not, the search for answers will continue.